What is it, please?
Pajamas. No. Oh dear.
On February 14th, 2024, Valentine's Day, and also Ash Wednesday, my mother called at 8 a.m. for her usual 8 a.m. call. I wasn't able to pick it up, so she left me a message, and it was a regular one. I want to show you how that sounds.
Happy Valentine's Day. I hope you're doing something to celebrate. Anyway, we've got Mass this evening, of course, Ash Wednesday.
So that's my mom's regular voice. The next day, February 15th, 2024, this is the message she left me. It was pretty clear immediately my mom, Anne, had had a stroke. And it turns out a series of strokes. My mom has been a real sport about this and has allowed me to follow her around and film her voyage of trying to regain her voice. And so I want to really thank her very much for allowing me to invade her privacy like this. She's actually all in and allowing me to share this information. If you're watching this, it's because she has approved the final version. And so I just want to thank her for that opportunity. I think it's a good learning experience for people to understand Broca's aphasia a little bit better, paraphasia a little bit better. So here it goes.
So here's Mama. She's doing just fine, just the same, independent. She has had a left non-hemorrhagic stroke, which means it's an ischemic stroke, a blockage on the left side. It is affecting the speech center. I would say it's not affecting a lot else. She's very opinionated already. You want some soda, huh? Let me get you a soda.
Yeah. I hope so. I got home from work.
Good. One left.
I heard this speaking of radio last night.
Ooh, pretty clear.
Yeah, not bad.
Monday,
Tuesday,
Wednesday,
Thursday, Friday.
Friday. Okay.
Picture.
You open a door with a
Yeah,
say it again.
yeah.
Key. You clean your teeth with a
Toothbrush.
good. You eat in a dining room. Oh, this one.
I can look right at the street. The nurse station is down in the hall on the left.
Good.
Good. All right. Need anything else? Just let me know. Nice and slow. Now I'm going to turn around. We'll come back down, okay? Just be mindful of that gown. It's so long on you. Okay. I have no concerns with that.
Update in the morning update. We had a fun day yesterday. Lots of parties yesterday, huh?
Yeah.
Let's get a video. And so she's sitting up. She's walking just fine. She took a shower this morning. Feels like a new woman. Let's take a video of you reading some stuff here. You want to just start from the top?
Yeah. Cranberry. Yeah. Grape cranberry. Orange apple. Tomato. Coffee tea.
That's good.
Right.
What kind of juice do you want today? You had the cranberry juice yesterday.
Yeah. Orange.
But what would you like to order?
Yeah.
You want the orange juice?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty sweet.
What are you eating now? Strawberry.
Oh, it's strawberry.
Yeah. Strawberry yogurt. Let's say the word. Do you know what this is over here? It's actually written on here.
Okay, cherry pie.
Very good. I think you do better with reading words than with identifying objects. All right, do you want to try saying a full sentence like, happy to be out of the hospital?
I'm so happy to be out of the hospital.
Very nice. And who do we have playing over there?
Both dogs.
Both dogs are over there. That's right. And what are these?
Just
And what is this? Cla.
Felix.
Very good. Behave yourselves.
Care for something to drink? CEO in the school corps, and you teach mathematics. Well, I know how many beans make 5, Doctor.
Yes, Mom has always been an avid reader, and she immediately started reading, probably 5 days after I would say 3 days after she got out of the hospital, she was reading. It took her about 4 days at first to get through a book, and then she was reading a book a day after that. Couldn't keep up with it. Constant bookstore, library visits, and so on. All right, so let's talk about the specific deficit that my mother had. She did have substantial damage to the left side of her brain, right over the area that is called Broca's area. And so at first she had a condition called Broca's aphasia. So the word aphasia means a lack of speech. And you can have a lack of speech for different reasons, but one of them would be damage to Broca's area, which is your speech production area. In my opinion, that was actually, I'm a neurobiologist, so in my opinion, there was actually really vast damage to the brain. So I was surprised that there wasn't more deficit there. There weren't any other apparent movement deficits. Sometimes we see a little bit of a behavioral change, especially when she is tired. But for the most part, the only thing that was actually affected was the speech. You saw that she had one PT session. She also had one OT session, occupational therapy session, and no more. You know, there was no more recommendation for any of that kind of stuff because really the only thing she had to work on was speech. In my role as a college professor, I teach anatomy and physiology, and I spend a lot of time on brain anatomy, on brain structures, and so we spend time talking about Broca's aphasia, interestingly, in my class, and I show students a video of a gentleman who had Broca's aphasia, and he really couldn't produce anything. He could barely say very simple words, and you can see that my mom is actually producing a significant number of words. Her volume is not very good, but especially at first, her volume was not very good. But she was producing words. But oftentimes they were the wrong words. So it was actually my sister who introduced me to the concept of paraphasia. So the root para means next to or around something. So paraphasia is basically the idea that you have a speech deficit where you cannot localize the correct word, but you are saying something similar to that. I'm not even sure that mom had that. I think there's, I mean, as far as I could tell, there's two types. I looked it up. There's two types of paraphasia. One of them would be a word that's similar but not quite the right one. And one of them is you're really far off. And I think whatever paraphasia is, whatever type it had, you know, she's never been diagnosed with this, but I'm just saying, you know, my armchair diagnosis is that she probably had paraphasia, and it is the type where she really gets stuck in a rut of the wrong word. You're going to be seeing her getting stuck on the word scissors, the word brownie, the word pajamas one day randomly, and these had nothing to do with the thing that she was trying to say. So take it for what you will. It's some kind of paraphasia probably. Sometimes she says pretty well when she means something else altogether. When I was talking to my students about Broca's aphasia in the past, I always thought that would probably be one of the more frustrating side effects if you ever had a stroke or some kind of, you know, brain lesion. I feel like Broca's aphasia would be one of the more frustrating things that would happen, is that you know exactly what you want to say. All the thoughts are in there. You cannot produce the speech. That is just so frustrating. I can't imagine. You know, to her credit, my mom never seemed, sometimes she did get frustrated, but she was never like super furious about it. I thought that she always had a pretty good attitude and even a pretty good sense of humor about it. So I thought that was great. It was a real model for me for, you know, patience and trying to heal. And then the last thing I will say before we go on to the next set of videos of my mother is that we have a family tendency to get stuck on words. Especially my sister and my mom and myself. I don't know about anybody else, but I feel like the three of us really tend to, we can't produce the word that we want to say. And especially this is true of nouns. I'll talk about that in the next break as well. Can't name the object. You can't name the object that you're trying to say. So I had said to my mom, I said, you know, we've always been this way. You've always been this way. You've always had this tendency to not quite be able to say the right word. It happens quite often. Is this the same as that? And what my mom said was, this is not the same as that. She knew exactly what I was talking about, and she said, this is different. And to this day, she hasn't been able to articulate exactly what's different about it, but she does say that it feels very different in her mind, and I believe her, even if she can't describe exactly what's going on. I thought that was kind of an interesting aside of Broca's aphasia, paraphasia, whatever's going on in there. What she has is not just an extension of a kind of a quirk that she had earlier. This is a new lack of function.
You had a couple good nights sleep and a shower. Feel a little bit more like yourself?
Yeah.
What this object is?
No.
Is it a knife or a scissors?
Scissors.
Correct.
Scissors.
Is it pepper or is it salt?
Pepper. Salt.
It's a big loaf of
Bread. Scissors.
You sip through this for when you're drinking soda.
Okay.
Is it a cup or a straw?
Straw. Scissors. No.
Is it a pen or?
Pencil.
Very good. All around the blooming heaven, will you go? I see. Too far away? All right, Mama. Good morning.
Good morning.
How'd you sleep last night?
Pretty well.
Okay. How many hours of sleep would you say you got?
Oh, pretty well.
Yeah, maybe 8 hours.
Yeah.
You went to bed at about 8 o'clock, and you
Yeah.
got up at about, what time did you get up this morning?
About 6:30.
6:30. And what are you having for breakfast this morning?
A cereal
Mm-hmm.
and a coffee and
Yeah. This is your first coffee. Good thing we took your blood pressure ahead of time. This is your Ensure. What's mashed up over here?
banana.
Yeah. It's sounding pretty good this morning. What kind of juice did you have?
Orange.
Mm-mm. Was it orange or cranberry?
Oh, it's cranberry.
Very good. And then that's the hard one.
Ensure.
No, that stuff right there in your spoon.
Oh.
Is it oatmeal or cream of wheat?
Raymond, please.
There it is. Good. Got a whole paragraph going there today. That's the most you've written so far.
Good morning.
How did you sleep last night?
It's pretty good.
Did you take your medicine this morning?
Yep.
Do you know how many pills you actually took?
4.
Was it 4? It might be 5, but I'm actually not sure. What did you have for breakfast this morning? What are you having?
Brownie. Oh dear.
Mashed.
Mashed
Yep.
potatoes
Mashed bananas.
and
It's a strawberry banana smushed together. Is it is it juice or is it a smoothie?
and some smoothie.
Yeah. And what is this here?
This is brownies.
It's Ensure.
That's right.
And do you remember what this one is? Oatmeal or cream of wheat?
Cream of wheat.
That's right. We should do these updates later in the day when you're not just waking up. That might be helpful. All right. Good evening, Mama. We'll try an evening one. What are you working on here?
Trying to solve the problem. Trying to solve it.
The jigsaw puzzle?
Yeah.
And what is this book here?
Sense and Sensibility.
And who wrote Sense and Sensibility?
Jane Austen.
Good morning. Good morning, Mama.
Good morning, Maggie.
And what do we have for breakfast today?
Oh, cream of wheat and
So that is strawberry yogurt.
strawberry yogurt.
You do have cream of wheat coming.
Okay.
And?
And bananas.
Yeah. And?
And
Close. Apple.
apple cider.
Apple juice, yes. And then do you remember how many pills you took this morning?
4.
That's right. And what is this here? It's a gallon of...
A gallon. I don't know.
Upon release from the hospital, my mother, kind of unbelievably in my mind, was immediately discharged into my care, and she came home to live with us. And so she lived with us for 3.5 months. And during that time, one of the first things I was really worried about was, how much medical care is she going to need? How often am I going to be driving the 2 hours north to visit doctors and physicians, or do I have to set up a new network of physicians down in my area, and we're actually in a different state. So that was on my mind immediately. It was one of my very first primary concerns. However, it became apparent that the only regular care she actually needed was actually speech therapy. You know, she was taking medication for some of the medical issues that had become apparent through the process of having the stroke. She was taking medication to mitigate all those problems. And so sort of like 6-month or annual checkups seemed to be the way to go with most of the healthcare professionals that we were going to be dealing with. However, speech therapy was something that was highly recommended, and of course I understood why. That was the one thing that I did go ahead and set up close to here. The speech therapists in our area are busy. It was kind of hard to find one that had openings, and so we were kind of sliding visits in between. One time, the speech therapy visits are supposed to be an hour long. One time I had to go to work, but they said, we have an opening tomorrow, and I had to work that day. We slipped it in real quick from 9 to 9:30. She went to speech therapy. I dropped her back home, and then I went to work. This is the way that it often worked. We just had to take whatever appointments that we could get. Our speech therapist that we ended up with was excellent, so I was very pleased with that whole process, but it was a little bit. It was a lot. All right, during the course of speech therapy, it became apparent that, you know, the main deficit that she had was objects. You'll notice that in the videos that I took of her having breakfast, for example, that I was often trying to get her to name things that she was eating. And I also thought if we did it at breakfast every day, first of all, you know, we always saw each other at breakfast time, so that was a good time to set up these kind of regular little sessions. But the other part of it was that then she oftentimes ate a very similar breakfast, and so it was easy to, I felt like on the repetition that she would have a better time being able to remember what things were. I honestly don't think that was the case, though. The repetition was not particularly helpful. I'm not sure. She never could remember what cream of wheat was, for example. At the speech therapist, it was just the same thing, mostly just trying to get her to name objects, name nouns, and it turns out that is oftentimes for people who have speech deficits, that is the deficit. It is a deficit of nouns. And specifically with my mother, it was the direct object of sentences or the direct object of prepositions. So that was oftentimes the work that was done with the speech therapist as well. You would say the preposition like into the, and then there was a picture of a box there, and you had to, you know, say the word box. These were very challenging for my mom. She did not enjoy these sessions. I think it was because, you know, it laid bare the deficits that she did have. She's not a particularly talkative person anyway. She's a pretty quiet person. So for her to kind of be forced to say things and then be corrected and then always get it wrong, and then kind of the, I don't know, probably embarrassment of not knowing what a simple word was. If you're not actually speaking these things, it doesn't occur to you that you're not able to come up with the word. So it's easy to just remain silent. So speech therapy kind of forced her out of her shell and forced her to try to interact with these words in a way that she was not comfortable with. But yeah, it was always objects. She did have some issues too with numbers and with colors, interestingly. And then a lot of the therapy was kind of the same stuff that I was doing at home, of course, much better and much more professional level. These speech therapists, it takes a lot of patience, I think, for one of these appointments. It's pretty amazing work. But after speech therapy, I noticed that for the first time, so her first speech therapy appointment was on a Tuesday. No, it was on a Wednesday. And then the next day, in the morning, I noticed for the first time she actually spoke a complete sentence. So that was a major victory in my mind. She did not seem to think so, but I thought that was actually a really good step forward. For the most part, up until that point, she had never been able to finish a sentence. She does a strong start. You know, she does the subject and the verb right there. She cannot complete the sentence with a direct object. Interestingly, in some languages, the direct object is actually the first thing that you say, like in the Hindi language. The first thing you say in most sentences is the direct object, like car, I'm going to, kind of a thing. I'm not sure if she would have the same specific speech deficit if she was speaking in Hindi. Interesting to know. Just an aside. The two things that you'll notice that I do in my little speech therapy sessions at home were oftentimes giving her very specific hints, oftentimes literally saying the word and then trying to get her to repeat it. You know, it's kind of this trying to get her to say it out loud. She'd say, oh, okay, that was what it was. But you have to actually say the word. I had noticed when she first got homework from the speech therapist and she came home, I noticed her, I know my mom was watching this, I noticed that she was holding the papers that were indicating that she was looking at the assignment and looking out the window. And I think the assignment was, you know, name the things that are around you. And I think she was naming them in her mind. I said, Mom, I don't hear you speaking. You need to speak.
Do you want to talk about your progress?
Well, it's kind of trying to succeeding as far as I could, and it's coming, but it's pretty slow.
I mean, I think you're completing sentences now.
No, but
I would say you're completing about half of your sentences.
yeah, but a lot of them are just wind up as much of the sentences. Oh well.
But you got your exercises you're working on. You're practicing speaking out loud, and you got some ideas from the speech therapist. So
Yeah.
This object gave us a little trouble today. Mom kept asking for a piano and pajamas. What is it, please?
Pajamas. No. Oh dear.
It ain't a piano either. Qu'est-ce que ça? It opens cans.
A piano.
Hey-o.
When you go outside and it's cold, what do you put on? Your
Clothes.
yeah, we could say it's a type of clothes. Coat.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Wear your coat. Mm-hmm.
Sit in a dark room.
We can sit in a dark room. Can you pick one word? Sit in a.
I don't get that.
Oh, okay. How about what are you sitting in right now? Sit in
Chair.
a. There you go.
Okay.
Chair.
Okay.
Yep, that works.
Okay.
You did above and beyond. You gave me 2 words.
Okay. Look in the mirror.
Good.
Wash the clothes.
Uh-huh.
You'll notice that there's a space of time there where not a lot of videos were taken. Life was getting really busy. April and May are the busiest months for sure, just in regular times without having a 90-year-old that we're also trying to figure things out for. So we had a lot of kids activities going on. There's a lot going on with my job at the end of the year. May is the month of birthdays and anniversaries in our family. So there was a lot going on. So I didn't really have the time to record as much. We were still doing a lot of these exercises, but just not recording them. There were not a lot of significant changes in terms of the speech, in my opinion. There was kind of like slow progress, but it wasn't anything that would show up in little video vignettes. During this time, I noticed that my mother had started to make herself breakfast. I came down one time and she had fried herself an egg. So it started to become apparent that she needed less service. And up until this point, I was pretty much making all of her meals. And if I had to go to work, I would leave them in the fridge and show her exactly where they were and worry about her all day. But once she started making her own simple meals, I thought, well, maybe she could, we can think about her living independently again. But there were just a few things that I thought probably an apartment by herself would not be the best option. There were just a few, like, I guess my main thing was if she was talking on the phone with somebody and living by herself in an apartment, how would she be able to communicate if she was having an emergency, for example? I do think she'd be able to dial the phone, 911, but would she be able to actually say what was wrong? And that was a big issue that we had. But there were a couple of other deficits there that I thought it's probably best for her to remain under, supervision, whatever that is. So then we had to make the choice. We were thinking about doing some heavy renovations on our home in order to renovate an area of our house into a mother-in-law suite sort of a thing, and where she could have more privacy, because up until this point she was in our spare room, which is small. She was sharing a bathroom with the teenagers, which is not ideal. So we were going to fix all of that by doing this renovation and giving her a nice space on the first floor where there weren't stairs, and trying to fix a lot of these problems. It eventually came about that we really were sort of right on the edge of a decision. We had as much as hired a design company to come in and do the renovations on the house. We had changed her address officially to my address. And then I think that there were just a confluence of a few different things that happened that made my mom realize she really wanted to be back in her community, where she knew people, she knew more people, where she had friends, she knew the town really well. And so we spent a Friday making quick phone calls up to the area and finding all the assisted living facilities that we could, all of the tours that we could arrange. And I think we toured 4 different facilities. And one of them was in the very small town where she lives, there is one facility. They had 2 rooms open. They had 2 apartments open. They were both efficiency apartments, or like studio apartments without a separate bedroom. They did not have any 1 bedrooms available. It was after hours by the time we finally got there. It was 5:30 on a Friday. All the administrators were already gone, but we walked into the place and there was a person who worked there who my mom actually knew. They used to do Bible study together, gave my mom hugs, and took her by the hand and pulled her down the hall, and we kind of knew immediately this was the right choice. Without having had that experience, I think that I probably would have sort of insisted that my mom move in somewhere closer to me, because I am her primary caregiver. And as much as she does have many more friends in that town, I think I was just really nervous about giving up all the ability to take care of her and visit her daily or twice a day or whatever. In my mind, if she didn't live in our house in a renovated space, then I probably would have set her up in some kind of an apartment very close by that I could have driven over there all the time. But anyway, it was clear that she wanted independence. I wanted her to have her independence, and it was, she was just about ready for that. So this society we have now, where we have all these assisted living facilities, is just a great concept. It gives a lot of independence, but you still have people who, clean your apartment and make all of your meals. And when you tour one of these places, you'll be like, this is a pretty good deal. How old do you have to be to move in here? Like, you'll have that experience, because they're nice. They got like activities 3-4 times a day. So yeah. So anyway, we went to the facility in her hometown, and that ended up being the place. So the new plan was put into action, that we were going to be figuring out a way to move Mom up to this assisted living facility.
Turn signal. Okay. Great.
All right, well, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. The church was really nice,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's a Sunday morning, so you went to Mass?
yeah, and the process. There was only one priest and two servers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the only people they had. And usually they have maybe 4 or 5 servers, or one server or another.
And what are we trying to purchase? You want to get gummy vitamins? These are all gummies here. You don't need the calcium ones today. You just need the one a day. And what did you have for breakfast this morning?
Oatmeal and juice and stuff.
Did you have a banana this morning?
I did have a banana.
Did you make yourself an egg?
No, I didn't.
All right, let's go. Come on, let's go. I gotcha. Right, we have a little quick tour here. Little kitchenette. Little rhino mama there on the fridge. Bright orange towels for the bathroom. Baja Blast, not mom's. All right, we brought a few things from the barn. We brought some art and some pictures. We did just bring the box spring and the mattress, and I'm regretting it now. We should have brought the bed frame as well, but next move. We got a little desk set up for you. Got some items from home, and the mother, there she is. It's a nice, I think we'll get some light in here. It faces southwest, so I think we'll get some sunlight in here as well. So cozy little space for the mom.
That's all she wrote. My mom is now well settled into her old community where she has the ability to walk to the grocery store and walk to McDonald's and walk to choir practice and walk to the diner and to visit the grave of her husband of 57 years. Despite my misgivings and kind of wanting her to stay close to me, I'm really glad that she made the decision to move back. Everything has kind of settled down now. It's been a few months since this transition occurred, and so I'm really pleased that it went the way that it was. And of course, my household has settled into its summer very nicely. My mom was an absolute pleasure to take care of, but there were a lot of things that we had to think about. We had to reevaluate all of her financial situation. We had to sell the house of a 140-year-old farmhouse that does need some level of repair, as is true of all 140-year-old farmhouses, I'm sure. Had to figure out her entire medical situation, all the specialists and everything else. So I do work a full-time job. I have a family. I have kids with lots of activities going on. So it was a challenge, but it was truly an honor to take care of my mom. I think that the ability to take somebody into your home, somebody you love, and give them that opportunity to heal properly and restart life with dignity is amazing. And I'm really pleased that I was able to fulfill this role for my mother. And she was just great to take care of. We got to know each other in a new way, I think. And I think we'll both look back on those almost 100 days as a really good time. And I'm grateful to have had it. It was the honor of a lifetime.